Good morning, everybody. We're just beginning in just a moment. We have some more people entering the room. Thank you for joining us today. Okay, we're going to get moving along. Welcome back, everybody, to Talk Tuesday of the 23-24 school year. This is our first one, and we are so excited that you're joining us today. We're going to get going in just a moment. We just want to make sure everybody has their Zoom audio on mute for right now, just so we don't have any feedback. If you can open up your videos, we'd love to see your faces in the space. We have such exciting information for today. Today's agenda. First, we want to welcome you. First from CERC. I'm Christine Kilman, a consultant at CERC, and I'm here with my colleagues, Stephen Prophet, Anne-Marie Cudisco, Alisa Aladato, and we are so happy. And we thank Holly Ryan, too, for really supporting us with technology today. We are here with our CSDE and our partners, our colleagues, is Kari Sullivan Custer and Jay Brown. Today, we're going to really be talking about understanding and interpreting monthly attendance data as you enter this 23-24 school year. We are so thankful to have Brianna Hennessy here from CSDE. She works a lot on the ed side end and really integrating that data and putting that data into a technology database. So we're looking forward to that. I'm going to wrap up a little bit with just some upcoming attendance and engagement meetings, just some reminders to tell you about. As we move along, we've had a lot of news pop up between August and September. So we have our CSDE Superintendent's Digest. Again, the QR code is on the screen along with the link if you need to access it. So we have some information on back to school from the commissioner, some social emotional learning from kindergarten to grade 12. It's a document with the components of that. We have district contacts. If you need to kind of look at that, fix that, watch your numbers, this is a great resource for that. We have our announcement that was on Superintendent's Digest of Talk Tuesday. We are back, and we'll have more information that at the end of this session. We did see some great improvements in attendance, and of course, math and social science as well. We'll again talk about that a little bit later today. CSDE launched their grade 3 to 6 English language arts model curriculum. Some information on Connecticut's physical fitness assessment dashboard that's on its site. And a little bit more information from our commissioner on the appointment of Charles Hughes to serve as the Deputy Commissioner for Academics and Innovation. And then finally, the State Board of Education released their 5-year plan. That's always great to look at because it really helps to guide what the state's doing and therefore what districts are focusing on as well. There's a sign up for fall statewide parent educator recruitment fair. Our Performance Matters Forum, which this is awesome. It's a great time to come together as districts and colleagues to share information and learn. There is information to register there or view the conference details. I encourage you really all to check on that piece. That's important. There's also some grant expenditure dashboard on its site for you to view. And then there's also Connecticut guidelines for educator and leader evaluation and support for 2023. And there's a commissioner's memo attached to that. I know those were a lot of updates to hear, but if you're interested in anything, definitely check out the QR code. Definitely check out the information that's embedded in that. We also have our LEAP 101 sessions continuing. These are reoccurring sessions with the same information. Some people like to join more than once, which we're welcome to join. The dates on here, a few have already passed, but right now we have the 27th coming up, which is next week. And then we have October 18th coming up as well. So feel free to register for that. Or if you have questions, there's Francisco Barra's information right there that you can email and ask further questions about that. Okay, and I'm going to turn it now over to Kari Sullivan Custer to talk a little bit about what's new at CSD and let us know some new information.
All right. Good morning, everyone. I hope everyone's doing well today on our first Talk Tuesday. It's so nice to see so many familiar and friendly faces. I hope everyone's having a great start to the new year. I I wanted to just sort of give some background on Talk Tuesday and a little bit of basics as we get started today. So Talk Tuesday, we're entering our 4th year of Talk Tuesday. We started right after the pandemic in May of 2020 to make sure we started with only 8 districts. Those are 8 districts that were part of a peer learning network to make sure that everyone was receiving information around the pandemic and sharing, what their struggles were and how they were finding resolutions. And one of the reasons we share what's on the Superintendent's Digest, if you remember from back then, there was information coming out fast and furious, and it was hard to keep up. And so we like to share what goes on the Superintendent's Digest with everyone. Some of it may relate to what your work is, but some of it may not. So we ask you just to pick and choose. We know that so many people, because attendance is at the heart of everything that we do. If students aren't in school, they're not going to learn, and we're not going to know how their well-being is. So we try and be inclusive of all of that information. So that's how Talk Tuesday starts. We always try and have an expert, content expert like Brianna Hennessy here from our performance office today to talk about data, because data is where you start with attendance. And then we generally have a school district. Today we don't have a school district because we kind of want to hear from you at the end. We're going to ask folks what their trends are and what you're seeing. So think about some things you might want to share with us so we can be better prepared to support you. Next slide, please. Just to start with the language of student attendance, for those of you who might be new to this, State Department of Education has a definition of what in attendance is. It's actually the State Board of Education, and it means being in school for at least half of the instructional school day. That means you could be at school, you could be at a field trip, you could have an individual learning plan. Whatever that student's school day is, they have to be there for a half a day. We use this as an example sometimes. We don't have it, I don't think, anymore in Connecticut, but half-day kindergarten. So if a student had a half day, then they would only have to be there half of that half day to get marked in attendance. There's a link here when you get the slides that will take you to the State Board of Ed updated the definition of in attendance last September to include students who are enrolled in remote learning programs. And so that's there as well. Chronic absence, just so we're all on the same page, means the total number of absences at any time during a school year is equal to greater than 10% of the total number of days of school. It measures lost time of learning. It doesn't measure for the purpose of punishment or labeling or shaming. It's just so that we know that how many days a student has missed school. If they've missed 4 days already this year, then they're on track for being chronically absent, and we want to call them up, do a home visit, find out what's happening. If we don't know already, what is the story behind that individual student's chronic absence? Truancy includes only unexcused absence. And so a student is determined to be truant if they have 4 unexcused absences from school in any 1 month or 10 unexcused absences from school in any school year. We no longer make referrals to court. There's a truancy referral process for the youth service bureaus, but each school district in their communities is required by law to set up a referral for truant. But with that said, most districts are working in a positive, supportive, relationship-building approach to attendance. And so we are reaching out and speaking to families and finding out what's happening before we're at a point where there's a truancy issue. One other thing I like to say is to be very intentional about your unexcused absences. Who's making that decision and how is that decision being made? Is it just someone who says, well, a note isn't here, so they're unexcused? Or has someone tried to contact the person and document the absence themselves? The guidelines for excused and unexcused absences say that someone at the school can actually document in the file the student's attendance or absence as excuse if they spoke with a parent. And so the only way we're going to reduce truancy is by reducing the number of unexcused absences. So training for school attendance officers, clerical, administrative staff, anyone who's just making that decision to ensure that it's not just a default, we didn't get a note, they're unexcused. Let's find out what's happening because that can help us support the family. Next slide, please. Any questions?
Yeah, is there any anywhere where we can find that guidance as far as the truancy and excusing those if we make contact
Yeah.
with families?
Yes, I can. I'll put the guidelines for excuse and unexcused absences in the um in the chat once I'm done, and then you'll find it in the 2 paragraphs after documentation. It'll say that it says in there that the document that it doesn't have to be a note, but it's generally a note. It can be an email or a phone call, and that the school can document the absence.
Thank you.
Yep, I'll put that in the link in the chat. All right, so next slide, please. So this is what I use when I do presentations to other states and outside of Connecticut. So I thought I'd share it with everyone here. So welcome to Connecticut. Some people outside Connecticut have this perception that we are majority white, New York suburbs, wealthy state. When I went to work for the school district of Philadelphia, I was Kari from Connecticut, and they had this perception of Connecticut. And with our 513 students, 52.5% are non-white. 32.4% are eligible for free and reduced meal. And 3%, this isn't here, are high need students. So we have a nice, high need students are majority, just a little over a majority of our students. We have 201 school districts. Here's the number of certified staff, and 11.2% teachers of color versus 52.5% students who are non-white. And to the right, you'll see our chronic absence rate, and I have to hurry up, over the last 10 years. So before the pandemic, we were at 10.4%, which was about 60,000 students. In 21-22, we went up to 23.7, which was more than double and brought us over 120,000 students. Last year, congratulations, we did see our chronic absence rates turn in the right direction, down to 20% chronic absence. I really wanted to get under 20% into 19, but we didn't quite get there. That's about 100,000 students are chronically absent, about 18,000 less than last year. But we're going in the right direction. We have a lot of work to do. We saw the majority of our school districts saw their chronic absence rates go down. We saw probably over 70% of our districts saw their chronic absence rate go down. So that is really good news. Whatever we're doing is working. This is hard. It's a marathon. It's not a sprint. So if you are a district that has seen your chronic absence rate go up last year, please don't hesitate to call me, and we can troubleshoot some ideas and see how we can support you through some of our efforts, through some of our partners at EdAdvance or CERC, to see how we can support you. Next slide, please. This is a slide that we'll show every month on Talk Tuesday, and it shows our monthly year-to-date, which is collected and released every month, chronic absence rates. It's released by school, by district, and by each of these student groups. And you'll see the gray is before the pandemic, the orange was the previous year, and the light blue was last year. So every one of our student groups saw a nice reduction in chronic absence. But however, we are still way too high, especially like our homeless youth are 52.7 are chronically absent. So we really want people paying attention to students who may be in unstable housing. Our English learners came down. The group that didn't really budge was our students without high needs. Those are the students who are not special ed, who are not free lunch, and who are not English learners. They stayed about the same as they did last year. We did a survey of families, 5,000 families, and many of the families are saying it's health issues, health confusion about health messaging, about when to send students to school, and mental health issues are really what are keeping kids from school. And next Talk Tuesday, we're going to have the O'Donnell Corporation come in and talk to us about the campaign they're creating that will be statewide. We'll have bulletin boards and we'll have social media, all based on this survey and feedback from families. And then we'll have toolkits of materials that districts can also use. So that'll be next Talk Tuesday in 2 weeks. Next slide. This just shows where we are for chronic absence compared to high need students and non-high need students. Our high need students are still at 28.5, but down from 34.0. And so you can see they're kind of trending just a little bit higher. actually a lot higher than our non-high needs students. So just wanted to share that with you. It's similar to what I just showed on the slide before. Next slide, please. Just a little bit of our legislation on chronic absence. Since 2008, we've had a definition of inattendance. Many districts do not have a definition of inattendance. Each district does their own. So Connecticut is often called upon because we do have these structures in place. We have our definitions of excused and unexcused absences. We had definite in 2015, we defined chronic absence required districts and school attendance review teams. Most of our districts and schools are required to have attendance review teams. If you don't have one, you should have very, very good attendance. If you have a chronic absence in your district that is above 10%, you're required to have a district attendance team. If you have chronic absence above 15% at your school, you're required to have a school attendance team. We have a chronic absence prevention intervention guide that goes through the whole nuts. What is chronic absence? Why is it important? What can a school do? What can a district do? And then we have our mental health and wellness days, which are 2 days, 2 mental health wellness days in a school year that cannot be consecutive, and they are always excused. Next slide, please. And this is just some, I'm gonna skip through this pretty quickly because I've used plenty of time. Some guidance to use data to inform your strategies, to build awareness and take a positive approach to chronic absence, build capacity within your district. We're doing some training in some of our districts with Ed Advance and with circuits available as well to do some training. Make sure your policy guidance is clear and up to date. Make sure your letters home to families around truancy and absences are friendly and helpful and not threatening. We have state level teams as well as our school teams, and blend funding resources. Just because you didn't get a LEAP grant doesn't mean you can't do a LEAP program or have a LEAP approach to your home visit. Look at your Title IV, your IDA, and your ESSA funds to blend resources to support attendance. I hope that's it because I'm losing my voice. Next slide, please. And here are our resources. And so you'll get this when you get the deck. So there's Ed site, which I put in the chat so you can look up your own chronic absence rate, guidelines for excused and unexcused absences, which talks about documentation, LEAP, and the other resources I talked about. Next slide, please. And now it's my pleasure to introduce Brianna Hennessy, my colleague in the performance office, who's going to talk to you about monthly attendance data.
Hello, good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. I work in the performance office. I've been working on monthly attendance for since the pandemic, and I enjoy it a lot. And I'm excited to share with you how we do things around here. Can we do the next slide, please? So Kari talked about this already, so I think we can just go through this slide really quickly. You know, in attendance, if you're in the school for at least half the regular school day, if you're serving an out-of-school suspension or expulsion, you're absent except each day that the student receives alternative education programming for at least half the instructional school day. So next slide, please. We still do have some remote learning in Connecticut for high school. So a student is in attendance during remote learning if they spend at least half the school day engaged in virtual classes, virtual meetings, activities on time-logged electronic systems, so like our Khan Academy for the math folks, or other things, or if they're completing and submitting assignments that should take approximately half a day. So you can click on that link, the standards for remote learning, which outline practices for high school remote learning. And right now, remote learning is only available for high school students and students where remote learning is part of an IEP. So during the monthly attendance collection, we do collect days in attendance in person and days in attendance remote. So that's one thing we are still collecting even 3 years after COVID-19. Next slide, please. In the monthly attendance, we don't disaggregate between excused and unexcused absences. So if the absence is excused, it still needs to be reported as not in attendance. And then when you see the data on our supporting students website, it's going to include all absences for any reason, excused and unexcused. And Kari went over a little bit of truancy information earlier. And Kari also mentioned, as school systems, we should be examining why students are having excused absences, because maybe that's a point where we can help with messaging or help support students in getting to school so that students are learning. Next slide, please. So monthly attendance is collected by CSDE at the beginning of the following month. So September attendance will be collected at the beginning of October. October attendance will be collected at the beginning of November, et cetera, et cetera. In prior years, we have allowed resubmissions of monthly attendance after the collection is completed to kind of do a little bit of cleanup if districts noticed they made a mistake. In this year, we will not allow resubmissions of the monthly attendance after the collection is completed. So that's a little bit after a week into the next month. And the reason for this is that we are designing new dashboards and new reporting systems through EdSite Public and EdSite Secure. So those data need to be finalized, and we can't go back and change them because that the information might, if the student transfers to another school, that information needs to go to the new school with the student. So unfortunately, we do need to have kind of set systems where we can't be resubmitting monthly attendance this year. Monthly attendance is shared publicly on the supporting student webpage, but it's not used for accountability. So the next gen accountability indicators do not use monthly attendance. Final attendance for the year is reported to Connecticut State Department of Ed with the June PSIS collection, and that has to be certified because the June PSIS attendance is used for accountability and can't be changed after the freeze date. Any questions about where and how attendance is reported? All right, let's move on. A few quick data notes. Districts only need to report monthly attendance for students enrolled on the last day of the month. So if a student transfers out of the district before the last day of the month, the district does not need to report monthly attendance for that student. Preschool students are not included. They don't need to be reported. And we attempt to clean out any of those records for students who transfer out or for preschool students. The best way to have accurate data is to submit accurate data. We encourage district attendance leaders to work closely with the PSIS coordinators. So check the data for reasonability. Are there too many membership days in a month? Are elementary students reported as remote learners? Those are a couple of common mistakes that we check for, but can't check every single district because I don't know every single district's schedule. So I don't know how many days of attendance students should have in a district. Next slide, please. So this is how we calculate attendance rates. I've got 3 students here, Brianna, Addie, and Callum, and in September, Brianna attended 17 attendance days out of 20 membership days. So I have an average daily attendance of 85%, and I'm chronically absent for that month. Addie attended all 20 of her September membership days, so her average daily attendance was 100%, and she's not chronically absent. Then Callum may be transferred in 10 days late, so he didn't start the school year with everyone else, so he only has 10 membership days, and he attended 9 of them. His average daily attendance is 90%, and he's considered chronically absent for September. Now that we don't report publicly chronic absence rates based on 1 month alone because of this. It's not really fair to say that Callum is chronically absent after he missed 1 day of school. So this, you'll see that we don't report chronic absence rates in September because of this reason. So in the next slide, we go to the next slide, we aggregate all these students, the average daily attendance rate is just the total number. I'm scrolling over it with my cursor. You guys can't see that. The total number of attendance days is 46, and the total number of membership days is 50. So the average daily attendance for these 3 students is 92%, but the chronic absence rate is 66.7% because 2 out of 3 of the students are chronically absent. So this is why we don't report chronic absence rates for individual months. We're only going to report on the public page chronic absence rates for multiple months, at least 2. Next slide, please. In October, we have another month of data, and so Brianna, again, 14 out of 20 days with even worse attendance. Addie missed 1 day, 19 out of 20, so 95% attendance. And Callum, totally present all of the days, so 100% attendance. But before we calculate chronic absence, we're going to aggregate the days for the month for each student. So can we look at the next slide, please? So year to date in October, Brianna is still chronically absent because total she attended 31 out of 40 days. Addie is not chronically absent because she only missed 1 day out of the 40 days. And Callum is not chronically absent anymore. For the month of October, the year-to-date average daily attendance is 90%. So that's all the attendance days divided by all the membership days. And the chronic absence rate is 33% because now only 1 student is chronically absent. And of course, you know, an example based on 3 students, 1 student being chronically absent throws everything off. And on the public site, we're going to suppress data. So this example, if you had a group of only 3 students, it would not be shown. We only show rates publicly for groups of 6 or more. So next slide, please. I believe, Kari did not show you this. These are the past attendance rates. So this is not chronic absence. This is average daily attendance. And we do see the dip after the pandemic and a slow increase in average daily attendance rate to the current year. And we can do the next slide. We can compare that to chronic absenteeism. Kari, this is the same slide that Kari showed you. Next slide. If you want to look up individual districts or schools, you can go to the supporting student participation page. Our goal is to have this page go away in a few weeks and be replaced by an EdSite dashboard that will be a little bit more interactive. But for now, we can use these data and go through some examples of how to look at your absenteeism data. So if you go to the EdSite page, which Kari linked in the chat, or did she, Kari did link it in the chat. Yep, you can go, it's the most recent link. You can click on the current data files, which is where this little arrow is pointing to. And you can see attendance rates and chronic absence rates for state, districts, and students, student groups, and for schools. Next slide, please. So if you go click on those links, am I able to share my screen?
Yes, we could give you access, Brianna. Holly, if you could do that on the back end, and then you'll be able to share. So I could stop sharing right now and let you go right ahead.
Okay, so let's take a minute to have everyone open up the chronic absence rates for districts. I'm going to open it up myself.
Christine, can you please repeat what I need to do?
Sure. If you can give Brianna Hennessy co-host access so she could share.
Done.
Thank you so much.
You are welcome.
Share my whole screen. There we go. So I'm here on the EdSite supporting student participation page. And I'm going to click on the chronic absence rates. I download the Excel file. We get a lot of information. So one of the first things we can do is, if you click on the top row, you can go to sort and filter and go down to filter. And that's just going to make these little arrows appear so that I can filter just for my district. And I'm going to select Connecticut. So in the category, we see all students, the student count, how many students were included in these calculations, the chronic absence rate for those students. Extreme chronic absence is more than 25%, less than 25% attendance. That's very extreme. I can see how many students had remote days. I can see the average number of remote days across the state and the average number of remote days for students with remote days. So if I only look at those students who had at least one remote day, on average, those students had 5 remote days. I can look at the rate of in-person membership. So that's how many days are in person, assigned to be in person. The attendance rate for those in-person days and the remote attendance rate. So the attendance rate on the days students are assigned to be remote. And we can see here that the in-person attendance rate is 92%, but the remote attendance rate is only 70%. So those remote, I'm thinking to myself, oh, some of those remote attendance days were not actually engaging students. They're not actually in attendance. The total attendance rate is the average daily attendance rate, and the reporting period is June 2023. So this is the state overall, but I could look by grade by going to the by grade tab. And I can do the same thing. Was there a question or?
So far, no questions, but people could feel free to use the chat or raise their hands or unmute anytime. So
Yeah, I'm just going through a few examples. I'm going to filter again.
I mean, for me, I'm just one of like probably a million on this call. This is just a brand new assignment to me. I'm a social worker in a school in the ACES district, and I've never been involved in doing the attendance piece before. So I'm just a little overwhelmed, but so I'm just trying to take it in. And you are going to send the slides to us, right?
Yes.
yes,
Okay, because it's
absolutely.
just it's going probably faster than because I don't have there are some things I just need to start learning a lot more about it because that's my job, I guess, is to track attendance and try to support students with it, along with my other, caseloads and stuff. So I'm brand new and like a little overwhelmed, but like
But we're glad
might
you're
need-
here. You're in the right
Yeah.
place.
Yeah.
And we
Okay.
have the slides.
Let's
And
see if we can put a link to the slides. Are they in Google? Is there a way to put the PDF in or anything?
I can't do it at the moment because I'm sharing, but if one of the others can put it in PDF and throw it in, that would be great.
I think I can do that. I'll see if I can get the PDF in the chat, and then know that there's a Talk Tuesday webpage that has all of our past topics. So there may be something more basic too for you.
Okay.
Okay.
So if
And
I
then
just type in, if I just Google Talk Tuesday, that like stuff will come up.
It should, yeah.
I actually don't mind sharing it at the end, right after Brianna and we get to kind of I will actually share my screen to show everybody where that Talk Tuesday website is.
Thank you. And now that I know you guys, like I'll reach out, like so I don't take up time in these Talk
No, we
Tuesdays
love
because I'm
it.
sure people are way more ahead than I am. But
Yeah.
I just wanted to say hi and brand new. So to
We're
this.
so glad you're here.
Thanks.
Yeah, and I know I'm going a little bit fast, but I'm happy to slow down a little. So, and I'm just going to do one more example and then we can have time to futz around. So I filtered just to Connecticut again, and now I can see student grades. 00 is kindergarten. And I'm just going to look at these chronic absence rates. So I'm thinking, 29% for 12th graders. That seems to be the highest chronic absence rate. And then close behind is kindergarten. So I'm thinking to myself, what is it that we need to do to re-engage our 12th graders and our kindergartners? And probably it's different things for the 12th graders versus the kindergartners. And so this is probably the most important column, this chronic absence rate. You can, if you're fluent with Excel, you can use these to make charts and graphs, but hopefully in a few weeks, we will have a more interactive website that will pop up with some charts and graphs that you can do without downloading the data. If you want to look at high needs, you can click on that. If you want to look just by the free and reduced lunch status, you can see that here. You'll start seeing some blanks. Those are places where the data are suppressed. Go ahead, Kari.
I just wanted to say that, you know, you don't have to be an expert in Excel to work on attendance, right? And I always say that it's really smart to have someone who is an expert in Excel on your attendance team, someone who can go through this data and sort and filter and do this, because not everyone can do this level of work in Excel. That's it. That's all I have to say about that.
Okay, so I think that's just about what we have. So when you're looking at your chronic absence rate, you're going to think to yourself, do any specific subgroups have a higher chronic absence rate, and why might that be so? And then taking that back to your attendance team to think about some problem solving. I can release the screen back, I think. Stop the share. And we can have some time for questions, I think.
I think that's fantastic. Absolutely. And people can unmute, put it into the chat if they are just comment. And please, if anyone is new to the space and new to the attendance work, this is a great place to start. Because the data really drives a lot of our thinking and our planning and implementation. So please, we want to hear from you. We want this to be an open space.
I have a question about the LEAP 101 training, if I may. Am I correct in understanding that that is open to anyone and not just the participants who are in the LEAP program itself, or?
Hi, this is Kari, and so we have for learner engagement attendance program, we have 14 districts that receive grants that help them hire home visitors and give stipends to teachers and folks who do home visits. However, we've opened up the training for home visitors, so any district that has folks doing home visits and wants to learn more about relational home visits that have been, you know, researched and proven to have an impact on attendance, anyone can come to our LEAP 101 trainings. They're 2 hours, they're virtual. Even people who aren't going to do home visits, we've had districts send a lot of teachers so that they can learn more about how to work with families in a positive relational manner.
Thank you so much.
So feel free to sign up.
Yes, thank you.
I have a question on the data as far as our students receiving reduced meals. Haven't that been changed for all of Connecticut as far as everyone receiving free lunch or breakfast or what have you?
So there is a way for the, and maybe I'll let Brianna answer this, but there was some time during pandemic where everyone was getting free meals. Right now, I think the legislature approved free breakfast. Not everyone will get free lunches, but there is a way for them to identify students who are eligible for free meals in the data collection, I believe.
Yeah, so in the October and June PSIS collections, we collect whether a student is eligible for free or reduced lunch. And the person to ask for more detail on that is Kendra Shakir. Kendra Shakir is the person who does the PSIS collections. A student, it's just collecting whether they would be eligible. So even though some districts provide free lunch to everyone, there are now alternative forms that districts can use to collect whether or not a student would be eligible for free or reduced meals, even if the district offers free or reduced meals to everyone.
Yeah, I don't think our district, now that we've been determined to be a free and reduced breakfast and lunch, we're not sending those forms home unless a parent requests that they need support for like things like field trips or other monetary issues in the school. So I don't know if that would be something we should think about, but I don't know how many we'd get back if they're not actually needing them for that. I don't know what other districts are finding with that.
I'm not sure that folks here today who are working on attendance need to be concerned about identifying students who are eligible for free and reduced lunch. Your school meals folks will be doing that. The people who work on your school meals, your school lunch, it kind of happens behind the scenes for you in the data collection. But you just need to know that, that's one group that you want to monitor to see how they're doing for their chronic absence, because poverty is definitely an indicator for potential chronic absence. Yes, hi, Bobby.
Hi, how are you? Can you hear me?
Yes, nice to see
I
you.
had a question. I was wondering if the state's given any consideration to redefining what we consider truancy and chronic absenteeism in terms of the number of days. I know a lot of the districts that I work with, that 4 in a month, when we don't have any court support anymore, is kind of, and now DCF won't even take those kinds of cases. So I just wondered if there'd been any of those conversations happening in terms of redefining how we calculate the numbers.
I wouldn't say on an official level that I'm aware of that there are some folks who still really are concerned with truancy numbers, especially folks involved with juvenile justice policy and oversight committee. I think that it's really important for us to be careful what we're with the excused and unexcused, so students are not being labeled as truant who shouldn't be labeled as truant. And then you're right in that, you're truant if you have 10 unexcused days. Well, if that's all you have, that's really not that in this day and age, not that bad of an attendance, right? It's only 5%, so or less, a little over 5%. So there are some thoughts and some discussions. There's and I've talked about this before, there is bias in determining excused and unexcused absences. And sometimes when students receive unexcused absences, it may be because they don't have access to doctors to get doctors their notes, or they may not have a family member who can take the time to do that. But they also lose some privileges that other students who get excused absences don't. For instance, being able to make up work or to get tutoring or to go to a dance. Those students are punished, and sometimes it's not their fault that they were absent, and that can sometimes work against improving attendance and push kids further down the way to even more chronic absence. So we want to be really careful. There's research that's come out from California around this. Not many states collect excused and unexcused absences. California does. And so they've been able to see the disparities around who gets excused and who gets unexcused absences. So it's something I talk a lot about, but whether people at higher levels are talking about it is, it does make it hard for districts to have two systems really of addressing attendance, truancy, and chronic absence. I encourage you to really look at it in a preventive relationship building way. And many of our past tried and true punitive truancies methods don't work as far as improving.
Right.
So,
I'm seeing an uptick in vacations, which is crazy. We can tell them 100 times over to please not take vacation during school time. But right now I've got 14 families overseas who are they're like, oh, well, And, you know, their
Yeah.
numbers are gonna start to add up and we get dinged for those numbers.
Right. And chronic absence isn't dinging. It's not
Oh.
punishment. It's data. It's black and white. It's just tells
I
us who
know,
wasn't
I
in
know.
school. So don't think of it as that. It is, we found last year that there was a lot of travel. A lot of the families who are overseas and out of the country are not on vacation. They are family obligations and they want their children to get to know their family's culture. And sometimes they get stuck there, right? And it's hard to get back. So we have to understand where they're coming from culturally in these vacations or family travel, and work with them the best we can, and know that this is happening nationally. I think what I think of it as is like COVID makeup travel. Like families couldn't visit their families outside the country, and I think a lot of that was made up last year. Hopefully, we'll see a decrease in that. Which I think is a little different than we go to Disney World for 10 days every year. That's a different issue. That's more of a, that's persuasion, it's messaging, it's working with families and having them understand. One thing that we talk about when we're talking about our campaign, it's going to be called School is Better with You, meaning school is better with you there. It's not, and that you are part of our school community. And when you take 2 weeks off to go on vacation, it doesn't only hurt your child's ability to learn, but it takes your child out of our community, and we miss them, and that they need to be there too. So it is a hard work, both issues you brought up, Bobby, and it's just something we have to keep working on.
We do
So-
have, oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, so I was reading what was put in the chat too. I think the difficulty is the subjectiveness of what, an excused and an unexcused absence is. And even if the same person is making that determination each day, and none of it's about punishment, because honestly, it's all about just having kids come to school and be happy. But, so it's like, do you excuse you don't excuse the Disney vacation, but then you decide to excuse the month, of being in Pakistan to reunite with your family, and because there's the cultural aspect, and then which kid is not doing well at school though, when they come back because they've missed stuff. And so it's like, that's a difficult thing for one person or even three people. I mean, I don't know how many people are on some of these team committees, but that's the, I think, confusing part. And whether a parent can just call and give an excuse of, my kid is sick, and a lot of us can't bring our kids to I mean, my kids are in high school, so
Right.
I don't just go to a doctor just because they've been out for 5 days sick if they're recovering, you know what I mean? So, and there's people who can't just go to a doctor. So I really feel like that law and that it's confusing. And how do you expect a parent to produce a note? And do you? And all these things are like very ambiguous to parents, and sometimes to school people who are trying to support them in making the best decision of their kid come to school.
Right. And it has to be the parent's decision. They have to decide, is it best for our family for us to take this vacation? It may mean that they're going to get excused absences. But I think when you're talking about equity, you're talking about individualized, understanding individual stories and working with families where they are. And you can't set a one rule for all. You have to, and then Kate, when you were speaking, I feel your stress, right? But I want you to know that this attendance work is all hands on deck. Not one person in any school is the attendance person. The classroom teacher, the bus driver. So you should have a school attendance team. And I've been working with one of our largest districts in the city about what are the roles on that school attendance team. Everybody who comes to that meeting doesn't just come to a meeting. They have a role. Your special ed director should be working with the folks who are working on the planning, the IEPs and the PPTs. And so, and whoever's working on ELS has a role, and whoever's working on family engagement. And then you have your whole climate and culture in tier 1, right? Those foundational supports. And so, know that you're not in this alone, and it does take some time to build up these teams and for folks to understand their different roles. If you're not going to have success if it's put on one school social worker or school counselor. Yeah, and I put a document in the chat, the reducing chronic absence in Connecticut schools for you. I do know that it is frustrating around excused versus unexcused, especially we're not trying to have a hammer of the court or have a hammer of DCF, because DCF will only take the cases. If you go to Talk Tuesday page, we had DCF on 2 times last year. So there's recordings of DCF presentations about, for educational neglect, they're generally younger students and they're generally not being taken care of outside of school, as well as just not coming to school, that they have to be in danger or not being supported, and not just an attendance issue like a Disney thing. They won't take those. It's not their job to enforce school. It's their job to make sure kids are safe and that they're not in danger. I hope that's helpful. Yeah, and I see the comment about tardies, and I would say some parents are worried about tardies. So parents need support as well. And we want to be careful when we're punishing for tardies, because a student might make a decision about, I'm running late, I'll just stay home because I don't want to get in trouble for being late. And so that totally works against, getting that student to school. And so you want to welcome them to school, make them go, get them right to class, get them in their classroom and find out what's happening and why they're tardy. What do they need? Routines got kind of thrown out the window with COVID, right? And so students are having a lot of trouble developing and strengthening their routines, and the families as well. And that lack of routines feeds into all that anxiety, because there's avoidance. It's avoiding going to school. It's avoiding, getting up in the morning. And so that feeds into that school anxiety, not wanting to go to school. And the more we can help them build routines and help families support them, I think the more helpful we can be to families and students.
I have a question.
Yes.
My name is Anjanae Wright. I'm from Bloomfield Public Schools. Has there any, I don't know if this is the right avenue for this, but has there been any talk about attendance being tied to academic credits, whether that's something that is going away, allowed? I know not every district does it, but for the ones that do, it does affect, that policy does affect academics and some other things.
That's a district level decision, and you want to be very careful with that, because if you take away credit too soon, and your credit, you're limiting credits they're too strict. For instance, if you're tardy to class 4 times, you lose credit. Or if you're absent from school, it might be excused, but it still counts towards your loss of credit. Kids are going to give up. They have to have hope. And so if you're going to measure with credits, take away credit because of absences, you've got to have something in place to help support those students so that they can make up those credits and be successful and not just give up because they've lost credit. That's not my area of expertise. I don't know if anyone else wants to talk to that, but it's, it's really about seat time and, and whether or not a child is learning. But it is a local decision. Maybe we could put together a Talk Tuesday on that topic, Christine, about credit and loss of credit. This is something districts struggle with, and districts I've worked with have policies all over the board on it.
And we also worked last year at Talk Tuesday a little bit with credit recovery as well. So not only that worries some about loss of credit, but like how can we work with students for recovery?
I saw a question in the chat. I wanted to, so there's attendance for class attendance that counts towards credit. And then there's daily attendance, which is what the state collects. And what is your chronic absence rate based on the state data? So they have a note here. If a student missed half the school day to lose credit for the day, and then they're marked absent if they miss half the class period or more. That might be for class attendance. And Lewis, I'm not sure. Our policy here is that if you're more than 20 minutes late to school for an unknown reason, you're considered absent. That if they're considering absent for the day, that is outside the state guidance. And if they're 20 minutes late, they should be marked present for the day. You're present if you're in school for half a day or more, and that might be really hurting your chronic absence rate. And so you want to make sure you're not marking students absent who should be getting credit for that day. And the other thing is you want to look at your disciplinary absences, your suspensions, and not in school suspensions, but your suspensions can and your responses to behavior interventions could really be impacting your chronic absence as well. And so what other options other than suspending a student do you have so that they can be in school and get credit for the day? And to look at even your disparities around your suspensions and who's getting suspended and how it's impacting attendance. How is school attendance? Anybody wanted to share? I know the first week or two with the 90+ degree, 100+ degree weather just really was tough. You know, we have half days generally are not good attendance days. Your daily attendance on half days is low, and then you add the heat in. So I know we had a really rough start to the school year, but has anybody had any kind of opening of school where they saw some success, some of their activities or that helped to improve attendance at the beginning of the year? Sarah, did I see your hand? Oh, I'm not hearing you, Sarah.
Because I hit the button on the remote on the thingamajig. I do that a lot. Sorry. My
Nice
elbow.
to see you.
Good. So we historically have been struggling with attendance here in Norwich. And so what we did this year is because there are only so many things like in our nexus of control. And of course, Florida vacations are not in our nexus of control, right? So we really looked at our operations and systems because what the feedback from our administrative team over the years is that what happens at the beginning of the year is transportation issues, medical forms, us not using authentic communication appropriately to make sure all 27 of our languages know when the first day of school is, as well as looking at our registration processes. So tomorrow's the day 11 of school for us. We were fortunate that we are fully AC'd, so we did not go on any half days during that time. And right now, doing a rough for tomorrow, most of our schools are significantly below where they were last year. Another strategy we did was for the first 8 days of school, because we had a PD day in there, basically the first 2 weeks of school, we sent the average daily attendance out, but also reminded them of the danger of average daily attendance and really wanted them to just look at who in your school each day for the first 2 weeks is not here. And do you know why? And just kind of keeping them on top of it from day one.
I know New Haven has been doing that, really looking at improved attendance over the first couple of weeks and really seeing improved attendance. Mike, nice to see you.
Yeah, we did a lot of interventions during the summer. So it really trickled down for the first couple of days of school. And we had a lot of cooling issues in our schools. So we had to like move schools, complete schools to other buildings, and with that, even with that, we had some really good attendance. So we worked during the summer to get our compliance in place, to get our no-shows, to get those no-shows from last year, to make sure that this year there weren't going to be no-shows, to get our rising ninth graders in place, those 8th graders that were going into 9th grade, those early kindergartens, those pre-K going into kindergartens, to rile them up. So we did a lot of interventions during the summer to make sure that they were ready. So we rallied them out. So we had a really good year, a lot of summer programs to get them ready. And when school started, we started rough, and we started with a fire hose on all those schools. And let me tell you, we ran those numbers the first 7 days, and we were like, I think it was like 36%. So, and just to start up like that was really good, even though we could do better. We could do better. I know we could do better, but and we're on it. We're on it. I mean, I attended, I just came out from an attendance meeting today, was on fire. And I loved it, the way that we have a new attendance committee meeting, review, oh my God, I forget, policy procedures. And we changed up a little bit, and they're on it. We have the Judge Keys coming in, and they're talking to the kids, the way that they're changing their views and their visions. It's absolutely amazing. And to see the way that the schools are viewing attendance and chronic absenteeism, not only chronic absenteeism, but their attendance, and how teachers are viewing it as partners with us and our community partners. It's amazing. So we're starting strong, and we're going to keep it up. We're just going to keep it up.
Wonderful. That's wonderful. I know if you really pay attention to it, you're going to see the attendance improve. You're just, having those team meetings, having the right people, looking at the data that Brianna, thank you so much for showing us, sharing that data, making sure the principals are seeing chronic absence data every week, every 2 weeks. The reports are pushed out. That's key. Christine, do you want to walk us through real quickly? I know we're at time. The last couple of slides.
Sure, and actually I'm going to share it right now very quickly. So just a quick wrap up, and you will receive the slide deck and a follow-up email. So please be on the lookout for that, because also Brianna has some great resources to check out in there as well. So here are our Talk Tuesday dates. If you or a colleague have not registered yet, please register. It is hyperlinked in here. But we are moving forward with some great topics, and we will announce those as long as everything's confirmed. So everything is right here. Also, I put in the chat 2 things: our Talk Tuesday webpage that you could find previous recordings on, resources, and we will be posting this as well. But also we have a survey that we'd love for you to take. Although it is geared more like last Talk Tuesday school year of 22-23, we would love for you to fill it out as well, just so we know what topics you might need, or if even you're interested in presenting for your districts. We'd love to hear what's going on and share that. And finally, here's our contact information. Please feel free to reach out to us, any questions. We always try our best to provide you with what answers you need or resources that will actually work. But I thank you so much for joining us today, and we will see you again in just 2 weeks. So please feel free to reach out. Have a great week, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.